Once upon a time there was a boy named César. He liked to go online all the time and was very active on sites popular with kids his age. After a while he started chatting with other children in the game chats. He became very close with another 10-year-old whose username was Helper23. They liked the same games, the same shows, and had the same sense of humor. They even explored new games together. After a few months of friendship, César gave Helper23 6 diamonds in one of his games. It was a very generous gift. César's birthday was coming up and Helper23 wanted to thank him by sending a real-life present. César thought it wouldn't be a problem to give his address, as long as Helper23 promised not to share it with strangers or with adults. Helper23 promised not to give it to anyone, not even to his parents, and said the gift was on the way. I stopped the story to ask him, "Son, do you think that was a good idea?" "No," he said, shaking his head. "Good," I continued. César also knew it had been foolish. As soon as he sent it he regretted it deeply, and the guilt kept growing with time. By the time he was getting ready for bed the next night, the guilt had overwhelmed him. He decided to confess to his parents. He knew the punishment would be harsh, but he only wanted a clear conscience. He got into bed and waited for his parents to come say goodnight. My son knew the scary part of my tale was coming and opened his eyes, giving me his full attention. César listened to the sounds in his house, the washing machine humming in the distance, branches scraping his window, his little brother playing in the crib next door. There were other noises he couldn't quite identify. Finally, he heard his father's footsteps coming down the hall. "Dad, I have something to tell you." His father's head barely peeked into the room from the hallway, but at a strange angle. "Yes, son." In the dark his lips didn't seem to move and his eyes looked wrong. His voice was macabre and very different. "Are you okay?" "No," he replied again in that awful voice. César pulled the blankets up almost to his eyes, terrified, and asked, "Is Mom there?" "Here I am." A horrible voice trying to sound like a woman answered as a head appeared in the doorway right below his father's. "Are you going to tell us you gave our address to Helper23? You shouldn't have done that," the horrible voice continued. "You know, he wasn't a kid, he was someone pretending to be one. Do you know what he did? He came to the house and killed your dad and me, just so he could spend time with you." The silhouette of a huge, fat man appeared in the doorway, holding the heads of César's parents in his hands. The little boy screamed as the man threw the heads at him, then pulled a huge machete from his clothes and lunged toward the child. I told the story and my son screamed too and covered his face in a defensive move, but the really disturbing part was just beginning. After several hours, César's body was barely holding on. His breathing was weak, almost imperceptible. His screams had turned into whispers. Suddenly, from the other room, a baby started crying. The killer noticed and slowly withdrew his machete from César's shoulder. He was excited. He had never killed a baby before. He left César, who was crying with the last of his strength and had only seconds left to live. He went to the crib, picked up the baby, and put him on the table to look at him better. The baby stopped crying and smiled. Helper23 had never held a baby, but it seemed natural to him. He wiped the blood from his hands on the blanket so he could stroke the baby's cheek. The sadism suddenly vanished in front of this little one. He left that house with the baby, took him home, named him Guillermo, and raised him as if he were his own. When I finished my story, my son stared at me with wide eyes. He was breathing hard. "But Dad," he said, "my name is Guillermo." "Of course it is, son." I winked and ruffled his hair. Guillermo ran to his room and shut the door. I think I heard him cry, but deep down, I think he liked my story.